Good morning, everyone. Will Dupree here in the KXAN Live studio. Right now, we are looking live at a protest happening just outside the Texas State Capitol here in downtown Austin. This is a group of bar workers, owners, performers, people who work in that space, protesting the governor's decision recently to close down bars statewide because of the COVID-19 spike that's happening, not only in new cases, but also in hospitalizations. Let's take a listen as this particular worker is speaking over a loudspeaker to the protesters gathered there. As you can see, some signs from people gathered say, "Bar owners matter, musicians' lives matter." Let's take a listen once again as this protester is speaking.
Not broken bread with anybody. He hasn't even called legislative session to get another opinion and another one and another one and another one before you're just shutting people's business down while their bills are still flowing. Okay? They still have to take care of their families. So while you and Jenkins are fighting back and forth about whose people are suffering, that's why you're out in the street. You don't want to be here. You want to live in peace. Okay? You want to live in prosperity and freedom and justice and liberty. Okay, even me, we may not agree on every single thing, but we understand who the culprit is, and that's why we're here. Because it's the law, and he is breaking the law. He's the one that needs to follow the law. Okay, we come in peace. We want answers. We need to know why. We need to know why we're being targeted. He said today, I showed you it. He said today, look, he's still at it. He said, no, we're going to wait and see if others. Arizona shut down bars, movies, blah, blah, blah. It was about 6 of them on the list. Bars was number 1, but they had others. So if you're going to do it, provide a plan, a financial stability plan, not some PPP that only goes for 2.5 months. What is that? Come on, you owe us more than that.
Well, what the weird part is, what they shut everything down a week before Independence Day.
And why, why did you start with bars first? You should have went to phase 1. Keep it fair. Keep it honest. He's not honest. And that is what is happening. And y'all need answers, and I would go to his house. She hit it spot on. When you let them know that when they reopen, we're going to be here. If you don't do the right thing. Okay, if you don't do the right thing and back down and void your order, and let's start over, and let's get it together. Everybody can agree? Yeah. Amen, amen. All right, beautiful. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Amen, girl.
Will Dupree here again in the KXAN Live studio. Protesters are gathered in front of the Texas State Capitol at this very moment, protesting the closure of bars all across the state. Governor Greg Abbott issued that decision last week after a record spike in new COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations because of it. Now, this is not sitting well with people who work and own bars. They have gathered here at the state capitol, some holding signs to be able to share a message to say, please open back up. The organizers of this particular protest had posted on Facebook saying that this COVID-19 spike is more likely from protests recently over police brutality and racial inequality. They said that opening bars back up is a way to survive and continue social distancing guidelines. However, the governor has said in interviews that the crowds that the bars are seeing, some of them are not following social distancing guidelines, capacity guidelines, and there are lots of young people going to them. And we have seen here in the state that at least 50% of new COVID-19 cases are people under the age of 35. Health experts have shared that in the last few days. So that is what led to the governor's decision and a reversal on his previous actions to close bars statewide. As you can see, there's several dozen people gathered in front of this Texas State Capitol protesting this, talking about it. They said they plan to march next to the governor's mansion just down the street from the Capitol to share their message. They also asked people to wear masks and social distance because, in their words, we do not want to be the cause of another spike or have any other businesses have to go through what we are going through right now. We're going to take a listen once again as another woman is speaking just outside the Texas State Capitol.
I knew I was in trouble. And I was looking around and I was thinking, is this bar worth this trouble? But then it occurred to me that it's not about Boketers. It's about everyone. There are 160,000, I gotta pull up my numbers. In the industry, in the bar industry, there's 60,000 people that are now unemployed. This is the second time in 6 months that we've went to bed with a job and woke up without one. That is not okay. It's not okay. I have closed. The closure right now is indefinite. There's no time limit. I had to borrow $30,000 to make it through the first 60 days, which we absolutely complied. We also complied with the opening procedures. Not good enough. The numbers themselves, in Texas, we have 153,000 that have tested positive for COVID. 80,000 have recovered. 2,416 have died. That's not enough numbers for me to warrant closing down a business that I've spent 11 years building. Lowest death rates in the country. Thank you for that. Not okay. So I think when I get back, I'm going to poke the bear and I'm going to open tomorrow morning. And we're going to see what happens. We have a great lawyer team, Jared Woodfield. I don't know if he's here. I'm excited to be one of the plaintiffs. I could not go down without a fight. I'm going out guns blazing. I think if we all just opened, there is strength in numbers. You know, when George Floyd had a funeral and there were 60,000 people, that was okay. When they came in on Friday night, I had 7 people in my establishment. When they came in Saturday night at 9 p.m., I had 12. So if that's not okay, but it's okay to march and tear up your city and burn down your town, and 60,000 people attended his 9 funerals or whatever he had, it's not okay. So at this point, I want to say, as an owner, if you don't have the balls to open right now, tomorrow, when you get home, then you should not be calling yourself an owner. We need to all stand up ourselves for our rights and open our establishments. Whatever they want to do, let them do it. Worst thing that can happen is they pull your license, you go reapply and change your name. That's the worst thing that can happen. The permit is to the premises. Permit is to the premises, not the person. And what I don't think they realize about us small town bars is it's the same people every day in the same seats, and they hug and they shake hands, and we're family in there. And they use the same pool sticks and the same darts, and they sit at the same tables, and we hear the same stories every day. So that's my take. I think as a unit, they cannot stop us all. I was willing to risk my license for every one of you. T, same thing. We risked our license not for the bar, not for my establishment, but for everyone's establishment. So as a unit, I feel like if we all open, there's strength in numbers and they can't stop us all. Thank you so much. Yeah.
As you just heard, that particular bar owner is advocating for defiance of Governor Greg Abbott's order for all bars to close across the state of Texas because of the COVID-19 spike in new cases and hospitalizations. We've also seen the positivity rate only grow higher in the last week or so. Governor Abbott said on our air here at KXAN News yesterday that the positivity rate, so the number of tests that are coming back positive, went from 4% or so earlier this summer to now 14%, and it's very close to 15%. Again, what you're watching is a group of protesters gathered here in front of the Texas State Capitol calling for bars to reopen, and some of them are advocating for opening despite the threat of potentially having fines levied against them or their alcohol permits pulled. We have seen in the last few days that the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission has suspended the alcohol permits for dozens of bars all across the state, including several here in Austin and Central Texas, for not advocating and not following certain capacity guidelines as well as social distancing guidelines that were put in place to protect people, customers going to those places. We've been reporting about that extensively over on KXAN.com and your KXAN news apps. You can read a lot about that too. Some of these protesters had said that their protests would go from in front of the state capitol there, and they're going to walk down to the governor's mansion to really send a message directly to him to reopen bars here in Texas, because it was his decision to close them all last week after that spike. I'm taking a listen as they're speaking again. As you can see, this woman's shirt says, "Bar Lives Matter," "Stop the Tyranny." Many others are carrying signs with similar messages. Now, we will say that a lot of these people you can see are not wearing masks or observing certain distancing guidelines. The organizers who came from Houston to Austin and called upon people to join them today asked people to wear their mask because they said they did not want to be a part of a spread and to result in some sort of spike because of their advocacy here today and their protests for what they're calling reopening in the state for bars. I want to take a listen one more time as these people gather. We did see as well in the background there, you can see officers arriving on bikes, and we all even saw state troopers arrive. Our reporter Maggie Glenn was there covering this particular event today, and she saw lines of state troopers with shields and other kinds of protective equipment for them arriving there as this crowd was about to gather and start speaking. One more time, let's take a listen in as this demonstrator is talking just outside the Texas State Capitol.
Haters. I'm the girl from the streets. I'm the girl with the DWI blown in the breathalyzer that saves my life every day that owns a bar. Well, why would a girl with the DWI that owns a bar? It's a test. It's a test. They're talking major mess about me right now. Major. I interviewed for the Washington Post. They're talking about me. If you read that, it'll break you.
They should. They should talk about
They can talk about me because for every one person that's hating on you, you got 5 coming out to want to stand next to you.
That's right.
Hand to God.
So they raised $1 million, is it? For this poor man that got killed? Is that right?
13 million.
13 million. I want to know where that went.
Thank you.
I want to know what they're doing with it because I have a freaking GoFundMe that I can't get past $505.
Thank you.
I'll sign up on you today, baby.
She needs some money.
You know what? I can care less
She
about
needs
that.
some
I'll
money.
probably give it away to veterans that are hungry.
Thank you.
I will. That's tea.
I'm a witness. She didn't give away.
But the point is, my gas is going to be cut off at my cafe for non-payment because we still got to do that on Friday. But they can raise $13 million that they have not said where it's went. I want to know where it went. Now, the governor and the city of Houston allowed that march. They should be finding out where that money went. Sorry, guys.
They cannot tap that rainy day fund.
I want to know.
It's a rainy day.
Are they going to start a nonprofit? Are they going to help other people?
No.
Because my $505 in my little GoFundMe is going to help other people. So I want you guys to listen to what he has to say in a little bit.
Yeah, I won't say
Is that what you're going to do?
No, I was going to invite her up after I get about 2 seconds.
So in a minute, we're going to march over to the governor's mansion. We've been given permission by the highway patrol to take that parking lot. They're going to block off the street for us. I love our police officers.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Austin Talley. Before I bring up Shelly, because she's wearing an awesome shirt that dates back to my lineage, Colonel James Neal is on my mother's side, and Vice President of Texas, Edward Burnson's on my father's side. So we know a little bit about when government wants to encroach on your liberties. We wave a flag that says, "Come and take it." So WTF fought TABC, and we won. Only 13 hours later, under false pretenses, did we get shut down by another governor executive order. So it doesn't matter how much you stand up and beat them. They're always going to figure out a way to try to knock you down. And all you have to do is, like Rocky Balboa says, is get back up.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how hard you get hit. It matters if you keep going. So we got to keep going. You know, I fought for my country for 16 years. I actually went back in the reserves. I deployed for 10 of it.
Thank you.
And so I don't discredit the men and women that are standing in uniform on the other side of the gates, because they're just following the executive orders that Governor Abbott decided to in place, because he assumes responsibility of the National Guard. But I ask those men and women, when it comes down to it, you raised your right hand and you swore an oath. I will not follow orders that are not valid. So when it comes to it, and if you're asked to arrest your citizens that you serve and protect, which one are you going to follow? So I continue running 3 national nonprofits because I love the men and women, and 3 local nonprofits because I love the men and women that served my country and died for. But I gave all of that lifestyle up in uniform, deployed for 10 years, because I was tired of fighting. I was tired of men and women dying that I just get done teaching and they die an hour later. So I came back to Texas 7.5 years ago to be an entrepreneur and have a little bit of fun. I've been quoted many times. I just wanted to be a hipster, drinking coffee, dressed like this. And then I decided to get in the bar industry. So I'm the director of operations at WTF because I wanted people to have a good time. Socialize over a drink, find some commonality. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care about your gender, race, color, creed. It's because I wanted people to have a place to have a refuge from everyday struggles of life. Come to the bar and have a drink. That's what every one of y'all wanted, and to make a living. But Governor Abbott decided to overreach and overreach and overreach. So let's bring up Shelly. She knows a little thing or two about fighting the government. Let's give her a round of applause.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here. First of all, you guys are very courageous because you have a lot more at stake than what I did.
Right now, this is Shelly Luther, who is speaking at the moment. She is the hair salon owner from Dallas who was arrested back in May for violating the stay-home order there and reopening her business. She was later released from jail after an action by the governor. There is an intervention there. So let's take a listen as she is joining these protesters of bar owners and workers talking about closures of bars all across the state.
And we protected our employees, number one. Number two, we did not let cops in unless we wanted to because they needed a warrant to come into our place.
Right. Yeah.
You want to come in, either you're buying beer or you bring a warrant. One of the two. One of the things that got, and a lot of people think Governor Abbott saved me. He did not. He cowered. Because what I will tell you is the Supreme Court saved me. My attorney saved me by writing up a writ of habeas corpus, which got the Supreme Court to take me out of jail for now. And then Governor Greg Abbott said we might open in a few days. If he would have just opened the day that I was in jail, I would have served fewer days. I could still go back for the other 5 days that's still in the Supreme Court right now. They're still trying to take away my salon completely. There's an injunction where they want to completely shut my salon down.
Keep fighting.
Oh, I'm not.
Keep fighting.
Girl,
You're not alone.
it's good. What I want to tell you is a lot of people, because I understand what T is saying about the hate. No one has received more hate than me right now. I'll tell you that right now.
Catching up.
I do not care what people say, and a lot of times they can't even spell. So,
Yes.
I will tell you one thing, and it's just some of the few things that I've learned because April 24th is when I opened. And I feel like a lot of the questions that I'm getting right now, I feel like you're in my April 24th, if that makes sense. The reason why Governor Abbott moved the salons up 10 days was because we were able to prove, I know it's sad, but we were able to prove that we were responsible enough to open without infecting people, and that's what the public wants to see from you too. And as you can see, I'm not a huge mask person. I don't like it. I don't believe in it that much. We wear masks in our salons since April 24th. Number one, it lets our clients feel safe coming in. It gives them a sense of safety when they come in. Number two, the microscope was on us. So if you want to open under the ordinance, defying the ordinance, the microscope is on you, and you have to prove that you're responsible enough to take care of this until we win the lawsuits to where we can do what we want again. Does that make sense? The people are watching you. You don't want to be a bunch of crazies. I don't know, the words are a lot worse. Going around killing everybody for a drink, because I killed people for a haircut. It's not about the drink. It's not about the haircut. It's about being able to feed your families. It has nothing to do with what you sell. If you pick up garbage, the government, the governor, they still get their paycheck every damn day. That's what they don't understand. And the people that are fighting you are probably getting unemployment money. They don't understand until they cannot feed their families, and that's when they start to understand. Until then, you have to fight for yourself. Number two, I understand, and it's a big elephant in the room right now. You and the protesters are fighting for the same thing. The protesters, not you, the protesters, the ones we're talking about. You're fighting for rights and liberty and freedom in the peaceful way. Causing a stink, getting loud. That is what's important. So the people that are protesting peacefully, even though some may not know it and you may not know it, you're fighting for the same thing. Just realize that. Rights, liberty, freedom. So don't get mad because they're protesting. We're protesting. It's the same. Don't be mad at them. It's the same thing. That's the one thing that I want to tell you guys. We're all in this together, and people hate me for saying that.
No, they don't.
Oh, they do.
So what?
Trust me.
So what?
Oh, I don't care.
It doesn't matter what they think.
But what I'm telling you is, all press is good press. And if people are talking about you, you're doing it right. None of it matters. So, if you want to open, you open. And I'll tell you what, I don't know how many cases, it's TDLR instead of TABC. We have TDLR in salons. I just got a letter yesterday, that someone filed a complaint on me again that I was open. When we're allowed to be open. That's how dumb people are. But I had like 10 cases excused against me. You want to know why? Because there's nothing in their rules or regulations that says that under COVID-19 in a pandemic, I can't be open. And TABC does not have that either.
No.
So what are they using against you? Nothing. The word of one man, and it's not good enough for me, and I know it's not good enough for you.
No.
We live in America. One man does not tell us what we do in our state. And it's important for you to start at the very lowest possible place in your community. Your schools, they need to be open. Your kids need to go to school. The reason why they don't want you to go, the kids to go to school is because they need you to stay home to watch them, and you can't go to work. That's their game. It's all connected. You have to start at the very, very bottom. Start with schools. Start with, if you live in Dallas, Judge Moyer, the one that put me in jail, he's up for re-election in November. There's a great lady named Jessica running against him. Contact me if you need any kind of information on that. I don't even live in Dallas. All I'm saying is work together. Open. If your cause is that true to you, open. We will back you. We will be there. At least you don't go to jail.
Yeah.
At least that's one thing. Because he admitted he was so wrong, you cannot go to jail. So fines, we'll all band together on the fines. You get fines, trust me, you can raise money. you can raise money. Anyway, if you guys have any questions for me as far as opening, your safety concerns, all of the salon requirements that Governor Abbott put out, that was the list I gave him to open salons, because he just wanted to be able to show the public that we could be responsible. Here's what's sad. What is the difference between you guys and a restaurant? 1%. 1%. 1%. Legally, right? That's crap. So what I would do is go around and take pictures of all of these quote-unquote restaurants that are packed with people and say, what is the difference? There's your lawsuit. And then put pictures of your place where you've got people just sitting in family sections. I know at Heroes, I don't know where Shanita went. They have, yes, Harris's Heroes. They have booths to where only families can sit in a section together. You're responsible, you're smart enough to take care of your own bar. And I don't like how they're coming after bar owners as if you're bad. They did the same thing with salons. They opened microblading for salons, but a tattoo parlor couldn't open. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So they want you to be quiet. They want me to be quiet. That's not going to happen.
No.
So I'm here with you guys. Fight together, band together. If you have questions, please let me know. Thanks for having me.
Shelly Luther. I'll give her another round. You work hard. You work hard. So we have some more that want to speak. One of the ways, I want you guys to understand.
Again, you just heard from Shelly Luther, who is a salon owner in Dallas. She defied the state's stay-at-home order and her county's stay-at-home order and reopened her salon, which resulted in her arrest. She was later released from jail, but she is joining these bar owners. And one thing I'll point out is that she had said that she doesn't believe in wearing a mask. All of the health experts that we have told you about and highlighted, and even the governor and state leaders have said how beneficial that is in keeping you and others safe from getting COVID-19. As our state is spiking in new cases and hospitalizations from it, it's important to point that out, that health experts are encouraging face masks. And I'll point out as well that not only the city of Austin, but Travis County and many of the neighboring cities here in the Central Texas area have enacted mask requirements for people in public, also in businesses. So that is just something to point out as well. We have much more reporting about it over on our website, kxan.com, and on the KXAN News app. So if you're wondering about specifics for those particular rules, we've detailed it there. If you're just joining us, we do appreciate that. This is Will Dupree here in the KXAN Live studio. We're bringing you this live image from outside the Texas State Capitol, where several dozen people have gathered to protest Governor Abbott's decision to close bars all across the state due to that spike in COVID-19. He had said that a lot of these new cases are because of young people under age 35, a lot of them going to bars, and he said that this was a way to try to stop that spread, an effort to do that. Not only have bars been closed in the state, but also restaurants have had to reduce their capacity for in-person dining to 50%. It had moved to 75% a part of the governor's plan, but now that's been scaled back slightly to deal with this spread, this ongoing pandemic, which is far from over here in the state, and it's causing some real repercussions for us here in Texas. Again, the organizers for this particular rally had said that they wanted people to wear masks and they wanted people to social distance. There are a few people that we can see here in this shot that are wearing masks and doing that, but they are not really spreading out as much. And a lot of the speakers are sharing the same microphone there that's attached to the loudspeaker, so they're not cleaning that in between people as well, which we want to point that out too. Again, let's listen in. The protesters said they're going to be gathering there in front of the state capitol and then walking over to the governor's mansion. They said they had gotten permission to be there by state troopers. State troopers obviously provide the protection in the perimeter around the governor's mansion, and they gave them permission to be there in that parking lot right across from the governor's mansion. So they'll be walking over there shortly. You can see news media are gathered there. Our reporter Maggie Glenn is going to be covering this for us here on KXAN News earlier, she saw lines of state troopers arriving with shields and other protective equipment as they have been covering protests not just with this one, but previously regarding racial injustice and police brutality. So once again, it appears Shelly Luther has taken the microphone again. She was saying that she wanted to join the bar owners, standing in solidarity with them to call for the reopening of bars. And that's what the complaint is with a lot of the people here. They want the governor to reverse that decision because they said the blame is being put on them. I'm taking a listen really quick, so just bear with me. We'll take a listen one more time as these protesters are gathered right in front of the state capitol.
I am in your lane. Tim and I are completely affected by this too, so we will not leave you.
That was one of the reasons that we decided to do the protest. It's not just a protest, it's a rally and a jam out. It's a jam out. Last week these bands came, I didn't even limit them. I just told the court they all offered to donate their time. If we can raise money, we can share money. We don't leave people behind. So that's what we did. We paid every band member. I don't have any young kids at home. If it don't fit in a saddlebag, it's not mine. I can do anything I want to do at 45 because I can do what I want. My kids are grown. But my people that work for me, these bands that come out, they have little babies. They have families to support. So we need to remember them in this fight. We need to. So I want to touch on one last thing about corporate America. So they said, what is the difference between a restaurant and a bar? 1%. So what has Governor Abbott done when he closed the small bars down? He sent everybody to Chili's, on the border, Applebee's. He has packed these restaurants that are not going 50%. And he took away our right to earn a living and pay our employees and support our families. The bills still keep going. Yesterday, listen, I got on my Facebook and showed out a little about this. The state of Texas is asking me for sales tax money. They sent it to me and said, if you don't pay this, by this date, you're going to have a determination hearing. Really? So you still want my money, but I can't go to work?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I encourage every single person who has not sold a beer to go in and put zeros. I'm not encouraging you to break the law. I'm not encouraging you to lie. Make sure you get that. I'm not encouraging you to commit a federal crime. I don't support that. If you have not sold a beer for that time period, put zeros.
I did.
Put zeros. You want to hit them? Don't give them any money.
Preach. Yeah.
Don't give them any money.
Tell them.
That's how you hit them. So I'm going to get off here. This is my last time to talk to y'all. In a minute, we're going to march over there. I'll let you guys know when. We're going to set up over there. Come here, Shantae. Come here, Shantae.
Get over there, Sean.
I just want to hug you, girl, without my mask.
Speech. Yeah.
Shantae's not going to speak, but Shantae has had a hard fight. I want to give a shout out to
I've
someone
never
that...
heard her be quiet, though.
I ain't going to make you cry, girl. I want to give a shout out to Holly Robertson from Sharky's in Galveston, Texas. She's not here today.
Yeah.
So I met her. She was one of the ones that contacted me and said, are you with that bar that refuses to close? It opens this April. Yes, that's me. I haven't seen you on the media.
I'm going to get some gunshots from across the street.
All right, our photographer is going to be walking away. He's going to be feeding back some footage to air during our noon newscast. So bear with us as we bring this particular stream down. Once again, what you were watching was a group who had organized this particular protest just outside the Texas state capitol, calling for bars to reopen here in Texas. Some of these bar workers and bar owners had come from as far as Dallas and Houston, some even from Austin. You saw the owner there of Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, which is here in Austin. They had talked about, how some of them plan to defy the governor's orders and reopen their businesses, even though he said they must close last week after reporting a spread of COVID-19, record increases in new cases and hospitalizations, and the positivity rate. So the number of tests coming back positive for COVID-19 is now up to more than 14% here in the state of Texas. So we're going to be still monitoring this. They're going to be marching at some point across the street to the governor's mansion. We'll show you one more shot as our photographer has just gone across the street there. You can see several dozen people gathered right there. Appears there at Congress. Yeah, as these dozens of people still gathered there outside the Capitol building. We thank you all again for watching. We're going to take down this stream. I will tell you all that Williamson County, the judge there, Bill Gravel, is going to be hosting a press conference at about 2 o'clock. We're going to bring that to you all live on Facebook, KXAN.com, and the KXAN News app. Many of the communities within Williamson County have issued mask-wearing orders for people going into businesses. Some cities saying that people need to wear them in public. The county itself, though, is not issuing a certain mask order for residents, but many of the cities within the county are, including most of them, actually. Georgetown, Round Rock, Jarrell, Hutto, Leander, Cedar Park, all those communities. So we'll have that to you at 2 o'clock. Thanks again for watching. I'm Will Dupree here in the KXAN Live studio. We'll see you back here another time. Please, everyone, stay safe and healthy, and if at all possible, still at home.